Hey, how's it going? I don't have a preamble to this really. I thought it might be a fun idea if I just simply turn on the camera while I'm driving and just like give some unfiltered thoughts around whatever it is I'm doing through the day. Is that a blog? Is that a video blog? Is this a snap? I have no idea. It's just me trying to get that stuff, because I have a lot of ideas when I'm driving in the car and think about stuff to talk about, but of course I have to have my hands on the wheel. I can't really fumble with the camera, and so I got a phone mount so I can prop it up, and actually you can see me while I talk, but I'm also acutely aware that I'm a little off to the side here if I'm actually like driving correctly. So anyway, that's 45 seconds wasted. So I have just driven to a property that I was showing for an out-of-state investor client. They are looking at houses in Milwaukee to potentially fix up, bring some life back into them. So like this place is vacant, and I feel like there's some rightly like held beliefs about landlords and out-of-state investors, out-of-town investors, whatever you want to call them, just in general, because there are a lot of bad ones, and there are a lot of ones that have no care over the property, no care for their tenant, who is their client, and supposed to be something they're supposed to be taking care of, and then they also just like, they're just looking for a profit, which, I mean, let's be honest, we all want to make a profit, we all want to make money, we all want to have a good life. So I don't begrudge them trying to make a profit. I begrudge them trying to make a profit off of, potentially someone else's uncomfortability or suffering. So just to get that out of the way, this house, someone was definitely living there like really recently, and I'm sure there was like an eviction or something else like that. I walk around and I can see like there's a lot of stuff that just needs to be taken care of. But you know what? That's kind of like, there's like dozens of blocks of this city. It's like square miles of Milwaukee and surrounding suburbs that are, houses that would have been extremely nice had they been taken care of. An old house, one that's like, 100 years old. And like my house is 100 years old, but it's in like a neighborhood that I feel really good about, and it has been well maintained. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I still want to fix up about it, but like I imagine if nobody did anything to that house for the last like 50 years, how bad it would be. And that's kind of like what I see in a lot of these houses that like really only investors can buy them. Because like I would love for a first-time home buyer, a local person, to be able to like own a home and get into that house. But as soon as I show that to some clients, they're gonna be like, nope, I don't want to do this. I like this is gonna be too much work, or I don't have the ability to do the work because I don't have money, I don't have the skills to take care of this stuff. And so like it just gets rejected outright. And same thing with certain neighborhoods. Now, again, like there is so much to love about Milwaukee and this city, and like I've lived in some rougher cities and had some experiences, and so like I understand my privilege as like a 45-year-old white man, that like there's not a whole lot of places I don't feel safe. It would truly have to be like in a place where I've caused trouble and I'm outnumbered for me to actually feel unsafe in an area. So like, I go in these neighborhoods, it's like, whatever, I'm walking down the street, walking down the sidewalk. Yeah, there's some trash on the ground. There's like some guys on a stoop that are, that maybe give me a mean mug look, but also like, what are they gonna do? Nothing. They're not gonna do anything to me. So I'm just this guy who goes out and shows these houses, and like I feel like there's just so much possibility, so much potential in some of these houses, and I just got to figure out a way to kind of get more people in them. Now I'm driving, and I'm just gonna detach my my camera real quick because I want to flip it around. Look at that. That's pretty sweet. It's a electric Volkswagen bus. I haven't seen one of those around here yet. So I'm in my car. I'm a couple minutes from home, and I drive through these areas. I try not to take the highway whenever possible, especially it's like in the traditional like rush hour type times. I mean, the traffic's never actually that bad in Milwaukee. It's not like DC or Baltimore where it's like, oh, it's traffic, I'm gonna be 45 minutes late. Here it's like, traffic, I'm gonna be 5 minutes late. Traffic, I'm gonna be 7 minutes late. It's never that bad. In any case, so I like driving around the city streets. I feel like a sense of duty around that. Again, like, realtor is like, it's a salesman job. I try not to act like a salesperson, and I certainly don't go into every single house thinking like, this is the one, I'm going to sell this one to my client, or I'm going to represent my client. So, like, I'm not trying to sell. I'm trying to help people make like really important decisions. And so just acting as, doing the literal definition of agent, acting on someone's behalf, and being their extra set of eyes and ears, being their extra like little person on their shoulder to give them advice. And so I do feel a sense of duty driving through the area, driving through different neighborhoods, taking a look at stuff. Sometimes I just note, like, I see a for sale sign in front of a house, and I go like, oh, that's Peter. I know that person from this other brokerage, or like, oh, I remember selling that house to another client of mine, or even just like, this area is not that far from this restaurant I really like to go to. And the city is just so small in that way. We're never that far from something cool, something to be proud of, or something to be excited about. And so on the one hand, I get why some people are like, oh, I want a safe neighborhood, or I want a place that has a certain kind of look to it. And I comply with all the fair housing laws, and so I never define what's safe, because one of the things that I say is that what's safe to you and what's safe to me may be two completely different things. Because as I mentioned before, not a lot scares me. When growing up in my teenage years, young 20s, like, I spent a ton of time living in Fells Point, which is in Baltimore. It's like not the worst area, but it certainly drove and walked through bad areas. I never got held up once. I never got mugged. My car was never broken into. And then I moved to Madison, Wisconsin. My car was broken into like 3 times in the first summer I lived there. And so the thing I always tell people is, like, which is the safer city, Baltimore or Madison? Because to a lot of people, Madison's the safer city, but to me, Baltimore was the safer city. In any case, we're looking at these houses, and people judge based on the neighborhood, and judge based on who they think lives there, and judge probably based on the skin color or the background of the people who live there, nation of origin, whatever it is. And in some ways that might be fair, because maybe they're looking to be around people who look and act like them. And in other ways, like, don't we just want to encourage the mixing pot? Don't we want to have, like, if you, it's hard to tell somebody to take one for the team, because if you go into one of these houses that's in a more transitional neighborhood, and you can help, like, make that a better place. Because the thing that separates the good neighborhoods and the bad neighborhoods, the thing that separates the good schools from the bad schools, the things that separates the good anything from the bad anything, is, does the people who are in charge of it, do they care? Do the people care? In the good schools, the parents care, and the teachers care, and that's why those schools are good. It has nothing to do with where they are. It has everything to do with how much they care. The nice neighborhoods, it's only because those people who live there care. and they don't let trash build up on the sidewalk. They are conscientious of their neighbors and not playing like loud music at night. They're inviting, if they are going to play loud music, they're inviting their neighbors over to enjoy and party with them. And you can see it in the service industry too. What's the difference between a good restaurant and a bad, good service or bad service in a restaurant? Well, if the person in the restaurant does not care about about your experience, you're going to get bad service. And if the person in the restaurant really cares, then you're going to get great service. If the cook does not care, then you're going to get bad food. If your cook cares, even if it's like the most plain, like over the counter, like the hamburger, easiest thing in the world to make, you're going to get a great experience because that person cares. And I think that's the only thing that separates the good from the bad in anything. It's what separates good and bad real estate agents. Because I see people who are very successful and, you know, they're chasing the dollar, and it's like they don't care. And so like they're successful despite themselves. They're successful because they have the ability to generate clients at a high level, and so it doesn't matter to them that if their Google reviews or whatever are a little lower. But that matters to me. I want to be liked. I'm going to answer this call. I'll talk to you later.